All right, now after months of people demanding that President Trump and the administration start holding people accountable, things weren't moving fast enough for people. But now, man, that ball is steamrolling, and we got to get ready and brace ourselves for the things that's coming out. It's like this in Minnesota. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but Minnesota has exploded in investigations, frauds, and prosecutions, but the lamestream media is not telling you about it. And guess who's wrapped all up in it? Allegedly. And you have to say that now online, just to prevent somebody from trying to, go after you for something. But allegedly, who's involved in it is Ilhan Omar. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the $1 billion worth of fraud coming out of Tim Walz's home state, Tampon Tim, who couldn't manage his own state, but wanted to try to step in as VP of a doomed campaign. Tampon Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, and the rest of these left-wing radicals out of Minnesota have been exposed. So as you see right here, it says dozens charged in $250 million COVID fraud scheme. And you see it right, $250 million. Now, what I'm going to show in this very first clip, this is a clip of one of the head of the USCIS, and that's United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Check out what he says they found in Minnesota in real time. And wait till you see the clips. And I'm not just talking about clips. I'm going to show you Ilhan Omar involved with the fraudsters. Check this clip out.
On September 19th, officers from our Fraud Detection and National Security Directorate, working in teams, have conducted over 1,000 site visits across the Minneapolis-St. Paul area as part of this operation. What they found should shock all of America. Focusing on a list of over 1,000 target cases involving more than 900 individuals, our officers encountered blatant marriage fraud, visa overstays, people claiming to work at businesses that can't be found, forged documents, abuse of the H-1B visa system, abuse of the F-1 visas, and many other discrepancies.
So as you heard, this is dated September the 19th. Okay, so the first batch, 1,000 people, they found massive marriage fraud, massive wire fraud. Now, on the heels of that, while all of this is going on in Minnesota, one of the main reasons why this radicalized, treasonous woman always speaks so negative against America, speaks so negative against white people, speaks so negative against everything that's based in morals, based in tradition, that is America, there's a reason. I want you to listen to this video of what she says, and then I'm going to follow it up with what the real is. Check out this, and I dislike showing this lady, so bear with me for these few seconds. Check this out.
The effort to dismantle USAID are deeply personal to me. I know the work that they do to help refugees because they've helped me and my family when we were in a refugee camp. Their work represents the best of America abroad, and it is truly a beacon of hope for so many people around the world.
Representative Omar spoke about the effects of the Trump administration's attempt to dismantle the agency, mentioning refugees losing access to food, shelter, and vaccines. Omar went on to mention Minnesota-based organizations that get funding from USAID and how losing that funding could harm those benefiting from their work. At Friday's press conference, Representative Omar was joined by local organizations which are directly impacted by the attempt to dismantle USAID.
Now, you just heard her saying how USAID, with Trump sending Doge in and stopping money coming out of USAID, how it's hurting so many people, how they're in Minnesota, their organizations are feeding people, they're housing people, except for it was a flat out lie. And come to find out, the Somalis run that state, especially the city of Minneapolis. Now that we just heard her bleeding heart story, check out what was really happening with the money from her people who were handling it, her fellow Somalis. Check out what was really going on with the money. So when this woman stands up there and tries to play victim, not only we already don't like her, but now you have factual data and proof to back up why you shouldn't like her. Besides the fact that she married her brother, so her brother can get citizenship here. That's right. If you didn't know, Ilhan Omar married her brother. They were married. And the question is, was that like some type of Somali type tradition? Was this like a real love relationship? But either which way, it was fraudulent, and it was an illegal way to gain citizenship to America while she stands on these podiums and tries to talk to America about what's right and what's wrong. You're a fraudulent POS. And so now you just heard her say, my heart and how USAID is stopping from helping so many refugees. We don't even know if her refugee story is real because everything else about her is faker than a $3 bill. Now let's listen to one of the members of our federal government team that's sitting there doing these investigations in the $1 billion fraud. Check this out.
$1 billion in fraud against Minnesota state government? That dollar amount was cited by acting U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson in a recent interview with Jay Coles of KSTP5. Thompson formerly served as the lead prosecutor in the Feeding Our Future case. Lately, he's taken on investigations into autism clinics, adult daycares, housing stabilization services, addiction treatment centers, you name it. Thompson says that his investigators have identified more than $1 billion in fraud, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Thompson predicts there will be more indictments in Feeding Our Future and in the other cases of fraud he's prosecuting. He recently recorded the 49th conviction in Feeding Our Future, with more to come.
Okay, so the Feeding Our Future that you just heard them talk about to date right now, well, this is back from July. There's even more. There was 70 who have been indicted, over 50 who are waiting for their sentencing behind this. And like they said, there's more to come. And that's not even it, like he said. Now, right here, did you heard him say that he spoke with KTPO5, the news, the local news there? Wait till you see this story. And the reason why I'm showing you this is this isn't just Minnesota, okay? This is where the Democrats have power. The deep state is real to circumvent the America First movement, going into the golden age for our country movement. Why? Because when these funds are given out, it's spent allegedly on protests, and most of it goes into the pockets of the freaking crooked left-wing radical politicians. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid. Hit that thumbs up, because I will never, ever ask you for a cash app or a super chat. But you hitting that like button, it helps enough getting the video out there. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're already subscribed to the channel or subscribing now, make sure that you hit the notification bell and select all. YouTube sometimes has issues with notifications, but when you select all, YouTube will make sure that you get notified the next time I upload new videos. And other scumbag slumlords in the area who either got some dirt on the politicians or is owed something because their money is what helped put them in that political seat, allegedly. For all y'all watching who like to try to come after people, I know y'all. But check this out. This is going to blow your mind. But after that, I'm going to get into the real deal. So check this out from the Channel 5 there in Minnesota.
We are following the fraud. I'm investigative reporter Ryan Rage. A lot has been said about the $1 billion that U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson said we may exceed when their investigations are all done. But we are tracking the money right now. Here's what we know exists. The Feeding Our Future scam, at least $300 million in fraud, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Then just last week, we heard about this, the housing stabilization fraud. 9 million so far, but that is expected to go up because it's just getting started. And the same goes for the Autism Center investigation. So far, at least $20 million documented in fraud. That's the accusation. That number also expected to rise because these investigations are just getting going. Click on the link in bio. We're breaking it all.
So the investigations are just getting going. They're alleging 1 billion at the minimum. Now, we started this video off talking about it was only 250 million for the Feeding Our Futures frauds. Now, Feeding Our Futures, you might say, well, what is that? Feeding Our Futures was a movement in Minnesota where they were getting money during COVID from the government, and they're supposed to feed the children in the area and take care of the people in the area, except for there was one problem. The money never made it where it was supposed to go. It was pocketed by, or should I say, there was a ringleader of all of this named Salim Saeed. Alim said, or you can pronounce it Saeed or said. I'm pronouncing it said. And this individual was spearheading this thing, and guess who rocks with him, who hangs out with him, who's one of his friends? This same congresswoman who we see here attending a pro-Palestinian. So as you can see her, our congresswoman at a pro-Palestinian rally amongst those other college students saying F you to people, among the college students who were terrorizing Jewish students who were going to class. Whether you agree with what's going on between Israel and Hamas or not, the children that are going to college, that are going to class, they don't have anything to do with it. But this radicalized left-wing extremist was absolutely okay with the way that they were terrorizing Jewish students and any other student who didn't agree with their radicalism on that college campus. So you see her there with that. Now, the Feeding Our Futures, as we said, as I showed you earlier, does charge a $250 million fraud scheme. Okay. And the individual, let's see if they even show his name in here, because that way I'll connect it right with it. But no need, because the individual who was responsible for spearheading this thing was a gentleman named Salim Saeed, or Salim said. Now, the crazy thing about this, with this whole Feeding Our Future situation, is that we have video of Ilhan Omar serving food at this individual's restaurant and for him. Check this clip out right here. While she runs around and talk about how America's bad and becoming the worst country, while her people allegedly are stealing billions from American taxpayers. And how can somebody stand on the soil of America, disrespect the president, and then claim herself to be black? We all know Somalis don't see themselves as America black. Newsflash for white America. Please know this. Jamaicans, people from Ghana, people from the Congo, people from Somalia, they do not see themselves as black Americans. There is a difference. To every other culture, they all think that everything is just black because the skin is dark. No, it is not. They don't consider themselves to be black America. Like when people say, go back to Africa, black Americans in Africa are looked down on. They just think we've been whitewashed because we've been in America. We're Americanized. It is totally different. So don't believe like, oh, her saying using her black card is righteous. It's like Kamala Harris. This woman is Indian and Irish, but since her skin is melanated, she threw her black card in. Why? Because the black constituency base is bigger than the Indian constituent base here. And when I say Indian, I'm not meaning Native America. I'm meaning from India. That's where her roots are from, India and Ireland. Thanks again for watching. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, a partnership I'm so excited about, and that's with Chapter. See, when my mother turned 65 years old, she was bombarded with Medicare information, sales ads, spam calls, emails, things that she didn't ask for, and she felt bombarded. And when she did decide to speak with somebody, it felt like they were pressuring her and trying to sell her stuff rather than help her. And then we came across Chapter. And one of the great things about Chapter is that their professionals are focused on giving you an unbiased perspective on your best options for your Medicare plan. And you know what? If you've got what's the best available, they'll help. They'll make sure that you know that. But if you're missing some things, they'll make sure you're at least educated on what you can do to make sure you've got the best Medicare plan available for you. And it's at least worth checking out, because wouldn't it suck to find out that the Medicare plan you've been paying for no longer covers your prescriptions? Your doctors have been kicked out of the network. That would suck. It takes less than 20 minutes. And the great thing is that these Chapter has been able to save seniors as much as $1,100 a year. That's $1,100 that can stay in your pocket. And I'm pretty sure you know what to do with it better than any pharmaceutical company. So give Chapter a call. Use the number there on the screen, or you can use the website, askchapter/realpolitics. And whether you go through the website and when you make that phone call, you make sure you tell them that Brian Maxwell sent you. That's literally Kamala Harris's DNA genetic makeup, allegedly, according to who her mom and her dad is. Now, check out this video of Ilhan Omar with the individual responsible for the one of the main people responsible for the $250 million, now $300 million fraud, allegedly, Salim Saeed. Check out the congresswoman.
horta aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay in maanta
First of all,
Safari aan soo
glad we
gaarnay.
reached Safari.
Safari in ay tahay meelaha
Safari is one of the places to prepare food every day. Every day, Safari provides 2,300 meals to children and their families.
2,300 oo ciyaal ah iyo familkooda. Taas waa
That's important, as you are aware. A large number of youths in this nation live with hunger,
wadankaneyti ama in familkooda fursad u helin in quraac qada iyo casho
and their family can't provide them with breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Look at her serving food with this individual right here. This man is the individual, Salim Saeed, that $300 million fraud going on there in Minneapolis. He went to prison for it. He's already been sentenced. As a matter of fact, to validate and verify that this is the individual, right here is the picture. Safari restaurant owner Saeed said he was entitled to huge profits in meal program. Salim said admitted making as much as $1.2 million on a $75,000 investment, but then was tied in with the Feeding Our Futures. As you can see, this is the same individual that is right here. Let me see if I can let it move him in a little bit more. This is the same individual right here that this is here. Now, the thing about it, this is here. The thing about it, one thing that he did that was smart, he never let the bottom part of his face be shown anywhere. As you can see, if you even went and researched SLIM, SAID, and tried to find any pictures on him, on this guy, the dark-skinned one out of Minnesota, you'll always see him wearing a mask. And as you can see, his attorney behind him is not wearing one. And he's doing that intentionally to make sure that his face in the courtroom, they didn't allow any cameras in the courtroom. So while Ilhan Omar is running around talking her crap about America, talking her crap about President Trump, stuff like this is happening. Sham marriages, elder exploitation, fake death certificates uncovered in massive Minnesota immigration bus. So we got illegal immigrants. We got them stealing over $300 million, all under the name of feeding children. 20 million right now in autism clinics that are supposed to be helping autism, but they taking the money. And then the housing scandal that really just ripped it all wide open. And as you can see, the DOJ charges 8 people with wire fraud in first wave in Minnesota's housing stabilization fraud cases. Here are the defendants. The Justice Department on Thursday charged 8 people with wire fraud for their roles in Minnesota's housing stabilization program. Today, we announced the first wave of charges in a massive fraud in Minnesota's housing stabilization program, said acting attorney Joseph H. Thompson. I want to be clear on the scope of the crisis. What we see are schemes stacked upon schemes, draining resources meant for those in need. It feels never ending. I have spent my career as a fraud prosecutor, and the depth of the fraud in Minnesota takes my breath away. The fraud must be stopped. Here are the defendants. They got a list of them right there, between the ages of 62 all the way down to 25. So without the one outlier of 62, everybody's between 32 and 25 years old. According to federal prosecutors, Minnesota's Housing Stability Services Program has such low entry barriers that it was susceptible to fraud. As set forth in the charging documents, the defendants devised and carried out schemes to defraud federally funded healthcare benefits collected within Minnesota's Housing Stability Services Program. The HSS program dates back to 2022. We know who was in office then, when Minnesota became the first state in the country to offer Medicaid coverage for housing stabilization services. The program was designed to help people with disabilities, including seniors and people with mental illnesses and substance use disorders, find and maintain housing. Rather than provide such help, the defendants obtained and misappropriated millions of dollars in program funds that were intended as reimbursements for services provided to those people, the Justice Department said. And y'all, this is one of many. I'm not sure if you're up on the whistleblower out in California that flat out said the money that was going to homelessness was being used and laundered out. Homelessness was the vehicle for money laundering in California, allegedly, according to the whistleblower. Now we already hearing about, what about Chicago? $1.8 billion deficit, but yet the teachers union got their $150 million set for that. Brendan Johnson in Chicago was more focused on the teachers union pension fund than he is on third grade boys and girls being able to read at grade level. And you ever notice something? It is the loudest, most radicalized, America-hating Democrats that are the dirtiest. Now, Ilhan Omar is running around when literally the Somali community is being accused of stealing over $1 billion from American taxpayers. Now, let's listen to Joe Thompson. And I'm not going to play this whole video, but I want you to listen to the investigator speak about what he found. Be very brief. Check this out.
The story has become all too familiar. Minnesota started the Housing Stabilization Services Program in 2020. We were the first state in the nation to make this Medicaid benefit available. At the time, the program was estimated to cost approximately $2.6 million a year.
The program, now remember, it was monies to help people, seniors, folks with disabilities, people with drug habits, find housing, right? So they're taking Medicaid money to provide housing for people. Obviously, you and I, being people that pay into the system and make a few coins, we wouldn't get that. But if you're a drug using, lazy scumbag of a person that doesn't want to work a job, they got you. Now, seniors, I get it. People that are disabled, I get it. But this whole mental illness thing, what are they classifying as mental illness? Because somebody that decides to go shoot heroin and do drugs, yes, addiction sucks. But they need a rehab. They don't need housing. Okay, they need to get their mind right first, because the housing you give them will turn into nothing but a drug den. Or what about the able-bodied men and women that are just choosing not to work because they want to protest all day? This will benefit them. The same government that they disrespect, the same government whose flags they want to burn, the same government whose facilities they want to invade. They also want help and money, and they want to suck off the government's, they want to utilize the government's resources. BS.
But it quickly exploded. It grew to more than $100 million a year in Medicaid billing within just
from 2.6 million estimated cost to over 100 million.
Few years. Hundreds of companies enrolled in the program and began claiming to provide housing stabilization services to thousands of clients throughout the state of Minnesota. Many of these companies operated out of dilapidated storefronts or rundown office buildings that were full of other fraudulent healthcare companies, such as the Griggs Midway building in St. Paul. Rather than being general healthcare or social services providers, many of these companies were devoted exclusively to billing the housing stabilization program. Today, we are charging 8 defendants for their role in this fraud scheme. 4 defendants, Mokhtar Hassan Aden, Mustafa Ali, Khalid Daib, and Abdi Fattah Mohammed, are charged for their role in carrying out a fraud in a company called Brilliant Minds Services, LLC, which is a housing stabilization services company run out of the Griggs Midway building in St. Paul. Brilliant Minds and its owners received more than $2 million in Medicaid billings based on their fraudulent claims to providing housing stabilization services. Defendants Christopher and Emmanuel Falade are being charged for their role in operating another fraudulent housing stabilization company called Falade Care. Together, they received more than $2 million in Medicaid billing, purportedly for providing housing stabilization services. 2 additional defendants are being charged by information today. Assad Ahmed Adaw, the owner of Leo Human Services, is being charged for his role in the scheme. His company received more than $2.7 million in housing stabilization services payments. His brother, Anwar Ahmed Adaw, the owner of Liberty Plus LLC, is also being charged here by information. He and his company received more than $1 million in Medicaid payments.
So as you see right there, we got almost $8 million in fraud just from these few individuals, just these few. And they've already got over 70 indicted for the 250 million. They're just getting started in this HSS. And then they haven't even dug deep yet into the autism. The point of this video, Patriots, is for you to know your administration is digging, and they know if they came out and went after Ilhan Omar just publicly, that she would use that with the lamestream media like somehow it's prejudiced racist. So the Trump administration is smart. They say, okay, you're the head, cool. We'll just cut the body off. You know, and so they're going after all of those underlings that she works with, that she networks with, that's committing the fraud, that's stealing taxpayer money, while at the same time spewing treasonous venom on our country while standing on this soil, while claiming to represent America. This lady should be removed from Congress and she should be deported from this country. And the reason why I say she should be deported, there is no reason for any individual who is not an American citizen that cannot stand and hates this country, spews nothing but venom on this country. There is no reason that they should be here, especially when they encourage and incite violence like somebody like Ilhan Omar is capable of doing. She should be deported, removed, and not allowed back in this country again, because everything she does, who does it benefit? Look at her home state. Her and Tim Walz can't control 2 lawmakers, lives taken by a Tim Walz appointee. 300 million stolen from children being able to eat. So far, 20 million taken for housing that could have went to help people, or should I say autism treatment that could have helped people. It's up to what, 9 million for the HSS, for the housing so far. Just from those 8 people, it's at $9 million. So folks, what I'm getting at here, the next time you hear that Somali-speaking left-wing radical extremist open her freaking trap, you should just giggle and laugh. Because you know the reason why she's barking so loud is because her base is falling apart. That Somali community is rocked by the federal government that she spews so much hatred against. And that man that's sitting in the White House, in that president's chair, that she wants to challenge, somebody tell this freaking immigrant, this lady who came into our country, because obviously she didn't like hers enough to stay there. You came here and thought you were going to challenge the president of the United States as a member of Congress. He's showing you what real power looks like, and it moves in silence. So this is just, hey, listen, man, if y'all stayed and you watch this, isn't this crazy that this woman runs around talking all this while this is going on in her backyard? I just wanted to bring you this information. If you stayed and you still here watching this, I want to thank you from the top and bottom of my heart. And I see the messages from those that do stay to the end. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something special for people. There are some people who every video they watch, they always let it be known that they enjoyed it or what they felt about it, but it's consistent. And I appreciate that so much. And I thank you for watching up to this point, literally from the top and bottom of my heart. I thank you. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. And if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Most importantly, I want you to stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.